Tell me your story. Welcome, Jason, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to get to know your story. Thank you for taking the time to tell us your story and doing this live interview with us. Everyone has a story. Thank you for sharing yours. Answer the questions the way you feel and interpret them. It is your story. There is no wrong or right answers. This is all about you and how you interpret these questions.
So it's
Our-
not graded.
Everybody's got a great story.
No, it's not graded. I don't get an A, B, C, or D.
Oh, no, no, there's no multiple
Um,
choice. This is all open ended, open response questions. Our first set of questions is early life questions.
okay,
These questions are about your upbringing, family background, and childhood experiences. The first one is
sure.
what do you remember from when you were little?
What do I remember from when I was little? I remember we had a 700 square foot house with 7 people in it where I was born
Wow.
in the backwoods. We had one bathroom, and at that point there would have been no, it would have been eight. Eight. It would have been 3 boys, 3 girls, and my parents, and we had a one. We had a 2 bedroom. One was more like a closet. My parents had the master bedroom. The 3 boys had the little tiny little bedroom on bunk beds, and my sisters slept on the pull-out couch in the living room. And 7 or 8 people in a house with an outhouse. So we used the outhouse in my lifetime. So daily.
I've used an outhouse in my lifetime. My grandparents, when I was young, they had an outhouse and I was scared of it. So most of the time I used a coffee can.
Well, that's the canopy. It goes under the bed, not over the bed.
Yeah. What was your family like when you were growing up?
uh, we were pretty close knit. That changed as we got older, but we hung out a lot. We played outside all the time. We were in the country, so you didn't have video, and you didn't have phones, so we didn't have video games, none of that. Because I was born in the '60s, so in the '70s, you're outside playing in the mud and just running around. Most of the girls were tomboys, so they were playing tag and football and playing in mud puddles with us. But we were pretty close. Good parents, nothing fantastic. We weren't rich, we weren't super poor, but we were not. We had, let's say, we had a meal every day. We had meals every day, but other than that, we weren't. We wore hand-me-downs. I got my brother's clothes. My next younger brother got my clothes, so on and so forth. But we were fairly close as kids.
Mhm. Who did you look up to when you were young?
Uh, would have been 2 people. Would have been my dad. Well, my grandfather, and dad, and my older brother. I have 2 older brothers. One was a tool, and one was cool. So looked forward. Oh, I looked, up to my older brother. He's 2 years older than me. We're actually looked at. We People have mistaken us for twins,
Oh,
and a lot of this, everything, looks, size, height, all that, and then just attitude, um, and just everybody always mistook us for twins.
wow. Did your family have any unique traditions?
So yes, we did. We celebrated Christmas and opened our gifts Christmas Eve, always, because my parents were married on Christmas Eve.
Oh,
So we celebrated their anniversary, and then at the same time, we would just open our gifts. Ever since I can remember 4 years old and up, we opened our gifts on Christmas Eve. Yep,
that's neat.
that was our little thing.
How did you get
Yep.
along with your family?
As kids, pretty good. Um, as adults, not so much. But yeah, we all got along as kids. We were always had each other's back and played well outside together. You had your sibling nonsense that went on, but as kids, you got over that really quick.
Mhm.
But no, we had a great childhood. I mean, honestly, we lived in the country, and you know, we just hung out together, and we had, we were surrounded by woods, so if we weren't playing in the woods, we were jumping off a garage roof with umbrellas, trying to see if it'd be like a parachute. We did all sorts of stuff.
It sounds like me and my cousins.
Yeah.
You said you grew up in the country. Where did you grow up?
So I always tell people I was born and raised originally in the Alps, and that was the name of the town. It wasn't the Swiss Alps. It
Yeah.
was a town in upstate New York, called West Steventown. You can look it up, West Steventown. It's upstate New York, probably about 3.5 hours north of New York City, and it bordered the Adirondack Mountains. So we had thousands and hundreds of thousands of acres of woods. I mean, we were surrounded by woods. So we were we were born hillbillies. I'll die a hillbilly.
Same.
But yeah, it's actually the Al. If you look up West Steventown, New York, and then the Alps, you'll you'll see it.
Okay. What's your favorite memory from when you were young?
Favorite memory work was working with my dad when just before I started kindergarten. I used to work with him outside a lot, and the year that I was always helping him. I mean, I say helping. He was allowing me to work with him. I was
Mhm.
probably more underfoot than anything, but he was really good about, teaching me how to work, how to do things. That's where I got my ethic from. And then he taught me how to ride a bike early on. And so, yeah, that's my best memory. Is That's just before I went into kindergarten, was spending time with my dad, because I had him pretty much. I hung out with him a lot outside, where the other kids wanted to be inside a lot of times. I liked the outdoors. So if he was out working, I was out working with him.
That's a blessing.
Yeah. Yep.
Can you think of something funny or embarrassing that happened to you?
Funny. Let's see. Like when I was a kid or recently?
In your early years, yeah.
Early years? Oh yeah, I did embarrassing stuff all the time. So yeah, my it's funny and embarrassing. My brothers, two older brothers, would pick on me, and I remember I'd be in bed in the morning, and we used to sleep in our tidy whities. You know, I'm 5, 6 years old. Well,
Mhm.
they'd be up, I'd be getting up, or I'd just be in bed sleeping, and then they'd come in and kind of whack me, and
Oh.
I'd get mad. So I'd jump out of bed, then they'd run outside. So of course I'm mad. So I'm in attack mode. So I'm running outside in my underwear, and then I get outside. I'm looking around. There's my sisters and my mom, and I get all embarrassed and run back inside. They're laughing at me because I did it on purpose. So I look back now. I know they were just messing with me. I would have done the same thing to them, but yeah, that was one of my funny memories.
What traditions do you enjoy?
Uh, just honestly, because I was in law enforcement for a while. My son and daughter-in-law are both first responders. They're paramedics and firefighters. It kind of puts a damper on actual holidays, because if I was on shift or they're on shift, we didn't have, for the last 10 years, we didn't have normal holidays. So our tradition was just the weekend before or after, or as soon as we can, get together as a family and have either a Thanksgiving dinner or open our gifts together. We try to get as many people, if not all, together. Um, is our tradition to make sure we keep that cohesiveness, because you get older and families kind of separate, and I don't want that. We don't want that to happen with our family. We want to be able to keep the closeness, so we try to make that our deal.
That's kind of how we do it. I
Hmm.
fight with everything in me to try to schedule our family get-togethers when everybody can be here. Sometimes it's impossible, but I'm
It is,
fighting for our
because
family time.
once you have a significant other, you have to worry about their family. Now you have two families you got to schedule. So that's what makes it so difficult is sometimes they're going to go here on this day with their other with my, my in-laws, or they're going to come with us or whatever. So yeah, it gets difficult, but we try to make sure at least one of those holidays we do, everybody's together as a family. And it's not even the gift giving or the eating, it's just getting together and just having everybody there to just be together.
We definitely like the eating part of it, and especially with grown children, because then you've not only got their schedules, but then their significant other schedules and their family
Well,
schedules to deal with.
it gets even better with grandkids.
Yeah, I've got one.
Yeah,
So our next set of questions is about educational and career journey questions. These
sure.
are questions about your career path, highlighting significant milestones, achievements, and challenges you've faced. Can you share a favorite memory?
Yes. I was in, I forget which math class it was. I had all of my credits. I had more than enough my senior year where I could leave by 10:30 in the morning from school to go to my job. But state requirement was you couldn't leave till 11:30 or 12. I forget what it was. So you had to take a class. And so I chose one of the higher math classes. I didn't need it. I didn't care if I passed or not. I just needed a class to take. I already had a study hall, so they wouldn't let me do another study hall. So I took this advanced math class, and I remember struggling on. I did fine in the beginning, and then I struggled. I was struggling so much with one part of it, and I just said, you know what? I'm going to quit the class. I'm going to talk to my counselor. I'm going to switch it out. I don't need. I'm going to quit the class. And she asked me to stay after class the one day, and she asked what the problem was, and I said, not you. It's just I don't understand it. I don't need it. So I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. I'm just wasting my time. She goes, next week, I'm having 3 days where I'm staying after school. There's 3 other kids in the class that are struggling with the same thing. Give me one chance. Just give me next week. Let me meet with all of you and go through it one at a time. We'll do problems. We'll figure it out. We'll solve the problem. And sure enough, um, when she showed me what we were doing wrong, it was like a light switch. Never had. I ended up with. I got a 98 on the exam. I had the highest grade in the class, and it's a class I didn't even care about. And it was that teacher always impressed upon me, don't just quit something. If you can figure it out, figure it out. Don't quit. So that was probably one of the things I remember the most of my school.
That was a good teacher.
Yeah, she Mrs. Phoenix. I'll never forget her. She's passed away since then because I'm old, so she was older than me. But yeah, she was a class act. Yep.
What was your first job and what did you learn?
Okay, that's a tough one to answer. Since I was preteen, I worked on my cousin's farm, milking cows, hay, and they paid me, so that was kind of a job. New York State has a thing called working papers.
Uh-huh.
Back then, at least, it was a blue card. You got a blue card from the state. You had to be 13. You had to have a physical, and you could only do certain jobs, and you could only work 32 hours a week maximum. But you had to you went to your counselor, then they sent you to the nurse. You got your physical to make sure you're physically fit to work. Then the state would issue you a blue card or the counselor, and then you could apply for jobs. So my first job, actual job where I paid into like Social Security and taxes, was I worked for the elementary school in town as a janitor, as a cleaner, gopher type person for the janitors on summers. So I worked my 13th and 14th year age of age. I was 13 and 14 years old. I worked 30 hours a week all summer, both summers, and I think I made 350 an hour is what I made. So I was every 2 weeks I was pulling down $180 for 13 years old. You're rich.
Okay.
But yeah, those were my first 2 jobs.
How did you pick your job?
I'm sorry.
How did you pick your job?
When you get your blue card, you go back down to the counselor, And back then, I don't know what it is like now, but back then they would have job postings and they would hook you up with someplace that might be close to home. So you didn't have to travel. So they already had a list of people that were looking, and um, they got in touch with the principal from that school because since they're in the same school district, and they hired me. So it was a pretty easy choice. They made it for me.
Yeah, that
But I
that
like
made
it.
it
It
a
was
little
great.
easier.
Yeah, it was easy. It was you look at stuff nowadays. Back then, you could the state actually did things pretty. They were pretty good about getting you plugged into something. But yeah, no, it was great.
What was the best and most challenging part of your job?
Oh, my boss. I had a supervisor that was really cool. He was a prankster, always playing practical jokes on me. But my main boss was a tool. He was mean. You couldn't do anything right. You never did anything right. And it's just like I was wanted to yell back at him. I was like, dude, I'm washing a floor. You gave me a bucket with soap and water, and I'm mopping a floor. How can I do that wrong? You got to go this way, you do this, and then you got to rinse it every couple. It's just like, okay. And then you come back in and do it. I'm still doing it wrong. So that was, but I think I look back now and it bothered me then because I was only a little kid. I mean, not a little, I was a teenager, but I look back now and I think he was just trying to prepare me. I think he was just being a guy that was just trying to prepare me for when I had a real job and a real boss.
Yeah.
But yep. Other than that, the job wasn't challenging. I mean, cleaning and then on the farm, I did haying and milking and everything. So I just came natural to that.
Mhm. How did you balance work and your personal life? And that can be with any of your jobs. I know you were young when you had that one, so that might not apply to that job. But
We just did in the I would work um, couldn't work when I was younger. We're not supposed to work on Sundays because my parents, they took us to church. So you're not supposed, you're supposed not supposed to work on Sunday. As we got older, and sometimes you just had to if my job required it. Sometimes they just like if you worked at a department store, they require Sunday. There's things you can't get around unless you quit. And but I forget what the question was now. I'm rambling here.
that's okay. How did you balance work with your personal life?
Oh, I just I worked the 30 hours a week at the thing, and then I had weekends off at then, and sometimes I'd work on the farm. But I had friends. We were in the country, but we had friends all within a mile, so we would just hang out, walk to each other's house, play football, baseball, whatever on the days. So we didn't need cars at that point. So it wasn't a problem. It wasn't a problem because we were all honestly brought up to work. So if I wasn't working at the school, as soon as I got home, you were working in the garden or you were cutting wood. So it was just the way that was the way we lived. I mean, you needed the wood to stay warm in the winter. So if you didn't cut wood, you weren't going to be warm. So that was your choice. So, but we
If
had a
you
great
don't work, you
childhood.
don't eat.
That's right.
Yeah. I believe that. I believe in working for, I believe that.
Hmm.
I
I
miss the
agree.
days of when I was growing up, nothing was open on Sunday. There was nothing. If
No.
you wanted anything, you better get it before Sunday because
Hmm.
nothing was open. It's not like that now, but that's how it
No.
was.
No. I remember that. Yeah.
What have you learned from past work relationships?
Um, don't trust everybody you think you can trust.
Yeah,
You,
that's a good one.
yeah. I mean, I did 30 years in the company I worked for before I finished up in law enforcement, and you know, you think you're close to somebody, and then they ask you a question, on the kind of off the cuff, and then you answer, and the next thing you know, it's got around, and
Mhm,
I had a couple ways of getting other information out there, so I know when it came back who told about
mhm.
who spread it. So yeah, that's probably the yeah that's what I
Yeah,
learned is you just can't. You got to be careful who you can trust. There's very few people. You'd be surprised, family included.
Yeah.
Very few people you can trust in life.
Especially if you were
Oh,
friends with them before in the workplace and then you become a manager or something, all of a sudden it doesn't matter how good you are to them, they don't like you.
that's
That's
right.
my experience.
Yep. And that is difficult because that's a position I was in because I started way low, sweeping floors, doing some stuff, and then I worked up. I ended up becoming a production manager,
Mm,
and
mhm,
did that was an issue. Just had to work through. Yes.
yeah. Our next set of
Yeah.
questions is personal background questions. These are questions
Mhm.
related to personal development, including moments of self discovery, overcoming obstacles, and evolving. What has been
Okay.
your proudest accomplishment so far?
My family.
Mm,
Um, as you get older, you look back, who you choose. I'm not knocking anybody. If you've been divorced, that happens. I get that. Fortunately, my wife and I knew her. Man, we knew each other for many. We were friends many years before we started getting together and stuff. So we already knew each other. We knew each other's families. So there was very little that we didn't know about each other because we hung out in the same. We'd go Sunday nights after church. We'd all hang out in a group, go to Pizza Hut, and joke around and hang out. So we knew each other very well. But then just seeing how that has progressed, you go from getting married to then trying to plan your family. And then all of a sudden now you have grandkids and it's like, where did it all go?
yeah.
That's, uh, that's to me is probably the crowning accomplishment of my life was, getting married, having kids, and then having grandkids. And then maybe one of these days, if I'm still kicking around, maybe great grandkids, who knows? But yeah.
Hopefully so. Speaking of
Yeah.
your wife, when do we get to meet your wife? I've never seen her on any of your videos. Is she camera shy?
Work.
Work.
No, no, no. She's the one that told me to do this.
Mhm.
She said she might come on.
Oh, you
Yep.
should do
She
a
said she'll.
surprise live and introduce her. I would love to meet your
Uh,
wife.
if you roll back and you go back about a month and a half ago in my community posts, you'll see surprise guest.
Oh,
It
okay.
says so. That was the plan at that point. We just haven't got there yet.
Okay.
When we did that, then we got hit with a boatload of information concerning my grandson that we were going to have to deal with, and then we knew our family was coming in. Then I got injured the one time. Then my leg did that. So we just haven't got there. I think she will.
Okay.
So we're shooting for it.
I'm excited for that. So that's coming up. Great.
Hope
How
so.
do you,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I said hope so.
Yeah. How do you handle tough times?
Pretty much what you see. I just I just joke around. I really don't care, honestly. I mean, um, like in my grandson's situation, uh, you obviously have to be an adult about it. You have to make decisions, and there's important decisions and a lot of emotional stuff going on. So you have to be prepared for that, and you have to deal with that. But after all in all, if I'm faced with I, I get mad. Um, not usually in front of people. It's usually when I'm working by myself. When I mess something up, there's been many times that tools have been broken because I got angry at the tool, even though it was my fault because I was the tool. But yeah, no, tough times. We just, uh, we if it's my wife, if it's something I have to deal with myself, I just pull the band-aid off. If I have to make a decision or have to do something, pull the band-aid off, get it over with, face the consequences, whatever. If it's us together making a decision, we're very good at communicating it and coming up with a plan of action, and then being able to support each other,
Mhm.
on whatever we decide. So we have a pretty good way of dealing with issues, and the stuff we've had to deal with the last couple of years has honed that. So not much else can come along that's going to phase us like that phased us. So I think we're in pretty good shape from here on out.
That's awesome. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Uh, Maybe to not be such a wise guy. It's got me in trouble a lot in my life. I was you could call me the principal's pet back in the day, between practical jokes and wising off the teachers, and never, nothing stupid, nothing violent. It was always just me being a dummy. Carry that through to my personal life. If somebody's trying to talk to me or gets angry with me, I just mess with them, and probably just be a better listener. Two ears, one mouth, the whole, you got two ears for a reason and one mouth for a reason. Would would be my, just be careful, a little more careful with what I say, and be a little more thoughtful before I speak.
We could all take that advice.
Yeah.
What are some cool things you've done or seen in your life?
Let's see. Cool things I've done or seen in my life. Let's see. I've been to Belgium.
Oh, wow.
That was really cool. Um, I went into the police academy at 49, came out at 50, had the highest score on the exam, and did that for everything in that realm for a while. So I'm proud of that fact because I did it late in life. I was going to do it earlier in life, and the fact that I was brought up to have a good work ethic, and that's really, I think, the big thing in my life was that I stayed at the same company for over 30 years before I retired. Well, left that company because they were bought out. I didn't retire from there. I have a retirement from there, but I left there because they sold out. But cool things, cool things. I know a lot of people don't like them. I don't really like them personally, but I got to meet Mike Tyson and Kevin
Oh,
Rooney. Yeah, coming down the steps, my brother and I were walking in to see the Empire State fights up in Albany, New York, and here comes Kevin Rooney and Mike Tyson, and the two guys, the trainer from the other fighter, and Elijah Tillery was the guy who was going to fight. They were coming down after their conference. Got to meet Mike Tyson. Um, Realized that yeah, he was a pretty bad dude. Tough. I mean, just meeting him face to face, shaking his hand. Even I would not mess with that dude.
yeah, I don't think I would
But
either.
that was really cool. I've got to travel up and down the East Coast all those years because my in-laws had a house down in Florida. That was always cool. So we had free room and board. Just had to get there. So I saw a lot of the country. My kids saw more of the country by the time they were 10 than I saw my entire life because they were up and down the Eastern Seaboard every year for a couple weeks. But other than that, I'm boring.
That don't sound too boring. Can you think of a time when you were pleased or content?
Say again.
Can you think of a time when you were pleased and content?
Uh, let's see. That's a good question. Pleased and content. It's been many times in my life. I mean, I'd go back to, probably I'd say, this year, my wife and I have been married 36 years in September. I know that's a tough milestone to hit. Um, and we're just pleased that even after over 36 years, because of dating and being friends, I mean, you know, we still have a great relationship. We have a great relationship with our family and kids. So when you have that and you can see your grandkids whenever you want, I mean, it's hard to beat that. I can
Yeah.
drive over right now if I wanted because I had my grandson the other night here, and then my daughter-in-law's home right now with my grandson. If I want to go give him a hug, I can drive 3 miles east and go give my grandson a hug anytime I want. So That's contentment. That's the definition right there.
Yes. Have you ever been scared or worried, and how did you get through it?
Oh yeah, I get scared all the time. Everybody thinks, because I mean I'm 6'3". People think, he's big. I've done all that fun stuff, football, boxing, all that. But yeah, oh yeah, I get scared. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now, probably the scaredest I ever was. I just got out of the academy. I was 2 weeks on the job. Um, I was in my FTO was with me. Call came out. We were one block from it that there was a teenage girl getting dragged in a house at gunpoint, and ended up the call was not correct, thankfully. But I'm 50 years old. We get out of the car. We go to the back. We call in the other units, surround the house. We're in the back, no cover, guns out. One takes the top floor, goes all windows because you don't know he's in the house. He's got a gun, and you're standing there. I got the bottom floor. My partner has the top floor. Guys in the front, and you're just waiting. You don't know if he's going to shoot out the window. And it was at that point when we got done, we got in the car, and I just said to myself, not to him, I'm 50 years old. I'm going to be a grandfather. What am I doing? What am I doing here? This is something I should have been doing as a kid, not now. So, but that was probably the crown jewel of fear for me.
Mm.
Not just for me, but knowing we're within minutes, if we didn't have an answer, we were breaching the door. And then it's a whole new ball game because you don't know. He can see you, but you can't see him. They have solar screens on the windows. You're going in blind. You don't know what weapon he has. Here we have Glocks, 9mm. He might have a semi, pew pew. I hate to say, I don't want to say that, but
Yeah.
but that was probably the pinnacle for me. But made it through it. It's part of the job.
Man, that's a scary story.
I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, if it came down to that, that's fine. I have no problem dealing with something with me. I was more afraid for the girl. If there was truly a girl in there, you don't need a 13-year-old girl going through that nonsense.
Yeah. Our next set of questions is about interest and passions. These questions reflect your interest, hobbies, and areas of expertise. Is there a song, movie, or book you love?
Yes, song.
Hold that thought just
Eddie
one
Cochran.
second. Let me tell him to turn the TV down.
I don't even hear it.
Okay, you can't hear it? Okay, don't worry about it.
I
It
don't.
just sounded really
No, I don't
loud
hear.
to me.
Nope, I don't hear anything.
Okay, is there a song, movie, or book you love?
I would say song is Eddie Cochran from the 50s. He was big when he was starting to get big when Elvis was. I would say he did Summertime Blues. He originated the song Summertime Blues.
Uh-huh.
But I like his song Come On Everybody. That's my favorite song, probably, I would say. Favorite movie would be Salem's Lot. It's a vampire movie written by Stephen King.
Yeah.
Um, Book would be Pet Cemetery by
Mm-hmm.
Stephen King. And then I said Salem's Lot for movie, right? And then what was the other one?
Yeah,
Song, movie, book. I got them
that
all
was
right.
it. Yeah, that was it.
Yep. Yep.
What are some of your favorite hobbies or activities?
Uh, Gardening. And not just the aspect of growing, but everybody knows by now that I like to try different things inside and outside. I like to try different things. I like to try to make it better. I just enjoy that scientific part of it. Woodworking. We have our wood shop. I did my trellis today. I did a video on my trellis. That's going to be coming out where I'm actually building the trellis for the subscriber garden. So I like woodworking, and I pluck around on a guitar. I took lessons for 2 years when I was in my 30s, and I have just an acoustic I just I just play around with it. I don't really play. I just mess around with. It's one of
Yeah.
those things that's kind of relaxing and kind of you can kind of get in the zone. But
Mhm.
I'd say gardening, working around the house. We've refurbished. This is our fifth house. We'll get a house really cheap. I'll fix it up and then we'll move on.
Oh.
Homesteading, things like that. Cooking. I like cooking. I love taking stuff from the garden and cooking fresh. But those are my biggest hobbies.
So you like to get houses and redo them and sell them? Is that what you were saying?
Hmm.
Didn't
Yeah, I've
that's
done
I didn't know
five.
that about.
Yeah.
That would be
Yep.
some
I've
cool winter content.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, I mean, I have some stuff I could probably show when I did this place, but the last five houses I bought were either foreclosed, which can be an issue because people get mad when they're foreclosed on, so they'll damage the home. But other than HVAC, you know, I can't. I'm not licensed to do um, um, air conditioning, but I can do most plumbing. I can do wiring. I've wired in boxes. I've wired the house we built up on the hill where I live back up north. My father-in-law and I wired. He wires, and I helped him wire that entire house. I can do that. I can do roofing. You know, I'm not a contractor, but I can take a house. I can check if it has good bones, and I can give me 6, 7 weeks, and I'll fix it up and make it very livable. And we're, hopefully this is our forever home,
Mhm.
and we like the area. So hopefully I have it. I got a few more things to do, but then this is pretty much done. Next year I got to remove a door in the back, put a door in over here, new windows, and I'll side the whole place myself. So, but yeah, I
Those are
enjoy doing
good
that myself.
skills.
That will be
Those are
video
good skills
content.
to have. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
when my son will be over and my son-in-law, so there'll be some content there because you got a really good chance with us three of seeing injuries, funny injuries, because we'll be
Yeah.
messing with each other, and one of us will. My son fell off the ladder when we did his house, but
Mhm.
it ended up being funny because he didn't get hurt.
Right.
But
It's
it was
funny
quite
later.
funny.
Yeah. What are your passions and why do they matter to you?
Passions. I just like my number one, my family, obviously. Um, Especially my grandkids now. It's just a progressive thing. You're married. You as a couple, your interest is on each other. Then the children are born. Then you have to split your interest with them. But then you have grandkids, and your kids are older. So now it's like, you guys go away. We want the grandkids. You can come back when we're done playing with them, and you can take them home. But
Mhm.
so that's our passion now. Is we really look, especially, it's funny when my wife and I first got married, because like I said, we knew each other, and we were more talking about how many kids did we want to have, when did we want to have them. So we decided early on we were going to have them fairly early. So my wife was 23 and 25 when she was pregnant
Mhm.
because we just wanted two. Thankfully, we got a boy and a girl. That's what we wanted. We didn't care as long as they're healthy. We were fine. Even if they weren't healthy, we had the kids. But we got a boy and a girl. We were fortunate. And then uh, because we decided at that point, because we've always had our grandparents were always old and they could never play with you'd go visit them. They were great to visit, but they couldn't get on the ground and wrestle with you and stuff. We're like, what if we were to have our kids early, and then if they had their kids, we'd only be in our 50s when we had grandkids.
Mhm.
And that's how it worked out. So, we're both healthy. We can get on the ground, put puzzles together, play ball, run around outside. So
Mhm.
that's our passion there. And then the garden, just because my dad was played a huge influence in my life, probably the biggest influence in my life that he shaped me. And he was just a great gardener and a good guy all around to just be around. And I always liked having a garden kind of to pay homage to him. And then that's been my passion because I know that if he were here today, he'd look at it and be like, that's really cool. Because I took it from just, we were in survival mode with my dad, just trying to keep our family fed. Mine is keeping us fed, but what can I do to make it really cool looking? And how much fun can I have doing it? So I know he always wanted to get to that point, but financially, just we weren't able to with 9 kids.
Mhm.
It was just, he was never going to be able to spruce it up the way he wanted. It was just a survival, you know, it was a survival thing, but he loved it. And I guess that's the reason I have a passion for it, is because I hold him in such high regard that I enjoy it too. And now I know why he enjoyed it. And I'm trying to take it to that next level. And now my son and daughter both, but my son especially, he's doing it now, where he's created his garden and he's doing raised bed stuff this and raised bed stuff that. He's going to take it to the next level. So hopefully that passion passes on to them.
Yeah. Are you part of any clubs or groups related to your hobbies?
Mm, no, just through YouTube. Um, Next year we're going to be, we're going to try to do some stuff next year for some farmers markets in the town. And then I am trying to get together with people in my area that we have a common Facebook that we go to for the area. And I think we're going to try to do not a club, I guess a club, you call it, if you want to call it that, nomenclature, whatever. But it's going to be something where maybe we can get a community garden going, and then we can each, kind of work it, and then we'll be trading off stuff with each other. So I think that's going to be in the future, but not right now. No, excuse me.
Have you ever participated in any charity or volunteer work?
Oh yeah, all the time. The church I was involved with years ago, we did a lot of. I forget the organization. They take shoe boxes. Is it
Um,
Graham?
they do that
Franklin Graham,
here.
maybe? Is that who? Yeah, we did that with the church. On my own, quite a few times, my wife and I do on the side charitable things ourselves. And then, as far as charities go, organizations know, but I've been on the ground hours after Joplin and Moore, the two F5 tornadoes hit.
Mm.
Um, my job at the time gave me great. I could take a day off here or there very easily. So when tornadoes would hit, I could quickly call the pastor of the church, and they would go grab a bunch of waters, bandages, clothes, money, and then I would drive from here up to Joplin, Missouri, and help clear houses and mark houses for bodies and all that stuff and that kind of thing. And I did it in Moore, Oklahoma, and I've done a couple other uh, tra- natural disaster type things, but kind of that kind of charity type stuff.
Mhm. Have you ever tried any adventurous activities like skydiving or rock climbing?
No, no, no. But never rock climbed, never wanted to. Always wanted to skydive, just haven't had an opportunity.
Mhm.
Um, it's still on my bucket list. Um, but I have jumped 40 feet on my dirt bike.
Oh, wow.
So that's my record. So that's adventurous.
Yes.
40 feet through the air, not crashed. I didn't crash either. So, but other than that, no, not a lot of adventurous stuff. No.
These questions are about friendships, romantic partnerships, and any other meaningful connections that you've had. What's your
Okay.
experience with love?
My what?
Your experience with love?
Uh, that's a tough question. My experience would be that there's different love. Um, you know, Obviously you love your spouse differently from how you love your children and your friends. I think there's different levels of love. Hopefully you care for your children and your wife the most. Um, and then you still love your friends, but when it comes down to brass tacks and you have to choose, I mean, you're going to choose your wife and your kids. So that would be my experience with love. And I would almost think that love can be fleeting. I mean, my wife and I still love each other. We've got a great relationship, but we've all been in relationships where you might love somebody and then something happens. And I dated other girls. I dated one girl for 2 years before my wife, and everybody thought we were going to get married, but it just wasn't in the cards. Things happened, and you kind of fall out of that love. Like, it's like, man, maybe I don't love this person as much as I thought.
Yeah.
But and friends, same thing. You can love your friends, but then anything can happen. We've all had friends either turn on you or you've turned on a friend or whatever, and before you know it, that love is lost, and you don't talk anymore. You don't even really want to talk to them anymore, deal with them anymore. But so I would just say there's different levels of it, obviously, which I guess there should be,
Yeah.
because I mean, otherwise, you know, yeah, I love my parents and stuff, but do I love them? Yeah, I love them differently, obviously, but do I love them as much as my wife? I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that, but that would be my take on that.
How have your friendships changed over time?
Uh, One, less in quantity, but better in quality. Because you're in high school, everybody's your friend. For the most part, if you're in the in crowd. If you're not, it's not true. But you leave high school. If you ever saw the movie Grease, do you remember the movie Grease with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John? At the
Yes.
end, they're like, "Oh, we're going to be friends forever," and it's just like my wife and always laugh at that part of it because it's like, what a bunch of bullcrap that is. Because I don't, I can name on one hand the couple people I might know through Facebook that I went to high school with, and then just through the years, because you move, you get older, your tastes change, you might end up having children where your friends don't, so you start to gravitate towards others that have kids because they have play dates, you can babysit for each other, where they're back with their single friends and out partying all the time, so things change. And now as you get older, you know all of my friends that I physically can see and touch, not on YouTube, they're all my age, a little older, maybe a couple of years younger. Um, I think family, like I have a sister I'm really close with. She's more of a friend. Well, she's my sister, obviously, but she's actually a really good friend of mine. I trust with my life. So I think as you get older, I think in my estimation and in my personal experience in my life, quantity has gone down, but quality of the friends have gone up. Because the ones I have really want to spend time with you and do things with you and have your back if you need it. I knew if my house burned down tomorrow, I'd have 3 calls. Hey, if you need to stay somewhere, come here, stay here. You know, um, Same with me. I would do the same to them. That they're welcome here anytime. So I think quality down, quantity up.
That's a good answer. Did any
Well, I mean, I'm
relation
Okie. I'm Okie. I have a lot of good answers.
good answer for everything? Did any
I'm just kidding.
relationship have a significant effect on you?
Did what?
Did any relationships have a significant effect on you?
Uh, yeah, I say my grandmother. It's. I mean, this sounds terrible, but I think I probably, other than my wife and kids, the person I loved the most in my life was my grandmother. She was just, you had to know her, you know, um, and that crushed me when she passed. A lot of us. So that really makes you dwell on, you know, the relationships you have with people, and when you lose somebody you're close to, it has a profound effect on your psyche, how you deal with death and life.
Hmm. Yeah. Who makes you laugh the most?
Oh, that's easy. My idiot son.
I thought you would have said yourself.
No, I make myself laugh because my wife always says I'll laugh when I say something, a joke that I think is funny, and she'll just look at me and she's like, it's not funny if you laugh at your own joke. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but to me it's still funny. But no, my son took my stupid dad jokes and um, I always tell him I'm amateur. He took it pro. The stuff he comes out with just on the fly when we're talking is just hilarious. And when we were working on his home, doing his siding last year, we had such a blast because it was just a it was like the Three Stooges.
Mhm.
It really was. But he makes me laugh all the time.
How do you deal with people who think differently from you?
Uh, I have no problem with it. You know, just like on YouTube. That's why on YouTube I don't talk. I don't do a lot of religious talk. I don't. I have my beliefs. I don't do a lot of political talk, and others do. I have no problem with that. I mean, if I don't want to watch it, I just won't watch that. But everybody's different. There's freedom of speech. Everybody has their own thought process, and especially the last 10 years, I'm going to say, after dealing with all the stuff you deal with in like law enforcement, just all the people you deal with, you got to understand. Um, you don't know what people are struggling with at that moment in time.
Yeah.
So I always try to go in with that. If somebody disagrees with me on something, I don't hate them. I mean, if I have my political leanings, if somebody's completely 180 degrees away from that, you know what? I can be your friend. We can still talk. We can go hang out. We just don't have to talk politics. That should have no bearing on my friendship with anybody. I'm not going to argue because that can, you see the stuff today gets hateful. But and I just don't want to do that. Same thing with religion. Well, I believe this. Well, you're wrong because it says this, and no, it says this. No, it's your interpretation. You just got on this really bad road. So everybody's different, and I just
Yeah.
like to tell people, you can be my friend. If you're a Christian and I'm not, or I'm a Christian and you're not,
Yes.
that's your choice. If you don't want to believe it, don't. I mean, I've had atheist friends in the past, and
Mhm.
they knew my religious leanings. We didn't. We didn't. They knew where I stood. I knew where they stood. We still hung out. We threw the football around. We went to movies. We went to parties. We had a great time. We knew you can still be friends. To me, it's just nonsensical. That's just my opinion. You should be able to get along with every. Now, if there's things that are immoral going on that just really cross a line, then we're done. You know, see you later. Nice knowing you. Move along. But if you have a different political belief or religious belief, we can be friends. I don't care. And like I said, if I see somebody on a video that I'm vehemently, if I said that word, is it vehemently? I can't even say it. But if I'm really against something, I don't have to watch that video. It doesn't mean I don't like the person. It just means that doesn't interest me. Just like I'm sure 99% of the stuff I might put on doesn't interest somebody. There's might be 1% they like. I don't expect them to like me for everything because that's impossible. There's things about my wife that I don't like, and she doesn't like about me. I mean, it just, we're all different, but you learn, it's part of being an adult. I mean, it just is. I mean,
Yeah. That's how you know you've become an adult. And
yeah,
some people may never become adult, but that's how you know
yeah,
when
no,
you.
yeah. And and the thing is, I'm always, if, like I've always told people, if you differ from me, you can come to my porch and we'll crack open a beer or a soda or a water or whatever. And we can talk. Let's not get angry at each other. But if you have something you think might bring new light to what I believe, I'm open minded. I'll listen. If you can change my mind, you'll change my mind. I'm not so pig headed where this is this, this is my person. And if you say anything bad about him, politically, then we're done. That's,
How do
if you can
you?
show something,
Sorry.
what's that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were saying something.
I thought you were finished. I was going on to the next question.
Yeah, no,
But
go ahead. Yeah, go for it.
how do you show thanks or appreciation?
Um, if it's with, it's different with certain people. If it's with my son, I'll just make fun of him on something. Like my wife always says, if I don't make fun of you, I don't like you.
Mhm.
If I'm making fun of you, I like you. So, but thank you. We've we'll get a card. We'll do cards and stuff. I've made casseroles for somebody if they, they did something or helped us out or whatever, and
Mhm.
just tell them I appreciate them. And I don't think it has to be extravagant. And a lot of times, sometimes they don't want a thank you. I know, like with me, if my wife and I do something charitable for somebody, um, if I go to the person, I just say, please keep this. Nobody needs to know about this. This is between us.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I know my parents were like that. My in-laws are like that. My wife and I are like that. So I know there's other people out there that a thank you is enough. Nothing extravagant. They're just happy they can help. But to answer your question, a thank you, a card, a casserole, something just, or when they need me, I'm there. That's probably the biggest one is reciprocity. I said that wrong. But if somebody helps you,
Yeah.
just be willing to help them when they need it.
Mhm.
But
These questions are about your principles, philosophies, and moral compass. Do you have any beliefs or ideas that guide you?
um, yeah, I think one of the biggest ones is I know it's called the golden rule, but a few of them, you know, if you're going to be a jerk to somebody, they have every right to be a jerk back. You
Yes.
know, be nice to people. Chances are they're going to be nice back. So my
Mhm.
philosophy is try to be nice to people because you don't know what kind of day they're having. We've all had that day where you don't want to talk to somebody, something just happened, and you're angry. You might snap back at somebody. That's not you. That's the situation. That's emotion. You got to understand that people do that. Different day, different time. It's not like that. But treat others the way treat others the way you want to be treated. There's an old saying: "You want a friend, be a friend."
Mhm.
Um, you want to be a jerk, you're not going to have a lot of friends. You're just not.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and just always try to be willing to try to help somebody. I mean, always be willing to help somebody because you don't, like I said, you don't know what they're going through. Is the philosophy and that's how I was raised. If somebody needs
Mhm.
help, you help them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's tougher nowadays because you don't know if you're being set up for something. But back in the day, if my brother and I were out driving around and there was a lady on the side of the road with a flat tire, she wasn't worried that two guys pulled up and said, "You need help changing your tire." She'd be like, "Yes, please." And we would fix her tire and move her along. Today, you don't know if you're safe. Back then it was a different time. But we were always taught, no matter what, be nice. If somebody is being so miserable and mean that you just can't be nice, then just go away. Just move on. Just move on. Like they say, don't argue with a moron because they're going to bring you down to their level and beat you with experience. Just move it along. My dad would say, just don't argue with them. Just move along. That's what they
That's
want.
good.
They want you to argue with them. Just be nice. And it means more if you go up to somebody and you're nice to them and they're miserable, and you just say, "Have a nice day," and walk away with a smile instead of arguing with them. I'll guarantee that's going to eat at them all day long because you did not engage them. And it's probably going to have a profound effect on their own psyche because they're like, what is wrong with that dude? He wouldn't even argue with me, because I just won't. I mean, I just refuse to. I mean, but just be nice, be friendly, help people when you can help them. If you can't, find somebody or lead them down the path where they can. But that would be my philosophy.
Can you recall a moment when you had to step outside of your comfort zone and how did it impact your life?
Let's see. Step outside my comfort zone. I guess I would just have to say, just making the choice to go to the police academy. That was way, way, way. When I was younger, I was originally going to go in the military, but I had such a good job at that point, and they were paying me so much money that it would have been, I would have regretted it. And I still wish to this day I'd gone in the military. And then after the military, I was going to do a few years, and then I was going to go into law enforcement. That makes more sense. Back then, you're young, you have your military experience, go into law enforcement. But when you're 49 years old and you're deciding, hey, I'm going to go into law enforcement now, that was a huge step because I was a production manager, and then to get picked to go through uh, the amount of interviews and polygraphs and meeting with uh, psychologists and stuff to make sure you are law enforcement material, um, is quite, it's extensive and it's overwhelming. And you go in, and there's chiefs and associate chiefs, there's assistant chiefs and dispatchers and fire chiefs, and they're all pumping questions at you left and right, trying to get you, you know, trying to hassle you and just trying to get you to mess up and see how you can handle stress. And that was definitely outside my box. And then I just, you just gotta, what do they say in the military? Embrace the suck. You just deal with it. Just say, screw it. I'm here. What they can't kill me. They can only yell at me. Words don't hurt. So yell at me all you want. I don't care. So that was that was probably the biggest step outside my box, was to do that.
Was there a time when you had to defend your beliefs even when it was hard?
Uh, yeah. Um, def- um, I mean, I've had conversations with when we lived back up north, where uh, I thought, if you want to, I don't want to get too deep into religion, but we went to this Baptist church up there, and from what I understand, from my limited knowledge of the Bible, um, I just thought the church was kind of headed the wrong way. And the one night I got a surprise visit from the deacons, and three deacons came in, and I invited them in. I have no problem with it. And they decided it was time to see what was going on and why was I being obstinate, whatever they said. So we just sat there and talked through the scripture and stuff, and I just stood my ground and I said why I thought this was correct and why I thought that what they were saying was incorrect. And they got a little upset. They wanted to meet with the pastor and have, do more meetings and stuff. I'm like, no. I said, we've already made our choice. I said, my wife and I, we're going to talk this week to the pastor, and we're going to put our letter in that we're leaving the church, just because I said, I don't believe in, dragging this kind of nonsense out. If you're not going to change my mind, I'm not going to change your mind. Let's just move along, and I'll go somewhere that fits closer to what my thoughts are. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's just going to be a constant battle every week. So, and I'm not going to do that to a church. I'm not going to, but I stood our ground, and we just ended up leaving. So, but that's why I'm always kind of gun shy when it comes to people wanting to talk religion or politics because I just, if you're that far apart, you're not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change yours. We're just wasting each other's time. Let's talk about YouTube growth or gardening.
Right. Okay. That's why I decided
anyway.
to take the next few questions, because they were mostly about religion. We're gonna
you can ask me. I'll definitely tell you what I believe if you want to know. I have no problem.
They're kind of basically the same.
Yeah.
But our next set of questions is the last set. So what I want to do now is give the viewers an opportunity to maybe be typing in some questions they might have. And when we finish these, if you're open to it, we could answer. I could ask you those questions.
Sure.
Does that sound good to you?
Okay. Yeah. You're, like I said, you're live, your rules.
My rules. Um, these questions are about the future. These questions will conclude the interview by asking about your future aspirations, goals, and dreams. What are you looking forward to in the future?
Funny, funny you should mention that. Number one is obviously working towards monetization for YouTube, getting that settled and done, hopefully sometime next year. If it happens, it happens. I'm not losing sleep over it. My goal, other than I'm just going to set my family aside because, of course, they're always in the main goal to reach. Is I've always wanted to have a place about an hour and a half north of wherever I'm living, but Oklahoma. If I go about an hour north, maybe northwest a little bit, I'm just about a half an hour outside of Oklahoma City. But Oklahoma is vast countryside, and there's a lot of properties up there. And I'd love to get, which I'm hoping maybe next year to do, is to get 5 to 10 acres. And then I want to bring in a little cabin, build up my own little cabin. I want to get it near some farmers that might have some ponds and maybe near a lake, and then I can, make friends with the farmers because I'd really like to have a little cabin that I can do off grid where I can hook up solar. I want to wire in solar, and I want to just have a place I can go hang out for the weekend, my wife and I, or if my kids want to use it. Just a really nice little place. It's going to have running water and all that stuff. It'll be off grid though. And then, if the farmers need help, I like work. I like doing ranch. I like doing farm work. If they wanted somebody on a weekend to come help them do stuff or do hay, I'd love to do that. And just kind of befriend the people up there, but then just have a place I can go to get out of Dodge when I just want to go relax somewhere and hide out. That's one of my biggest aspirations is as I head towards retirement is
Yeah,
to be able to have a place that I can have built with my own hands that we can just go hang out
that's great.
and then just be outside of Oklahoma City because we love going to Oklahoma City. But I'd love to be able to go camping, and then if I want to go get a fancy steak dinner that night, I can just hop in the car, you know, go to
That's great.
Oklahoma City, half an hour away, but then they go back to the country like I'm in the middle of nowhere because it is the middle of nowhere. But
Yeah, that's a
that's
good
my
plan.
big aspiration.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Uh, well, I would say, and I've told my wife this before. We talked about this one day, and we needed it back in the day. Um, but for many, many, many years, I worked so much overtime. I mean, when I'm talking a lot of overtime, uh, I would work 78 hours a week. And that's taxing. Um, the only reason it didn't hurt our marriage or anything so much was because number one, I was only 4 miles. I only worked 4 miles from home, so I'm 10 minutes away. But we needed the money, and it was great money. It helped us pay for our house, knock our mortgage out pretty quick. So we really wanted to knock our mortgage down as quick as possible. So we were both on board with it. But personally, if it were just me making the decision, apart from my wife, say my wife wasn't in the picture and I still had kids, I would have to say, and I spent a lot of time with my kids. I went to all the dance classes, all that stuff. I coached baseball, all that on top of it. But I would have spent more time with my kids and my wife instead of chasing the dollar. Um, would be That's what I would advise myself to do is because
That's good advice.
from my own personal experience, I never cared. I never thought as a kid, boy, I wish my dad made $1 million a year. I never thought that. I was just happy I had a dad that would come home. And if I wanted to throw the ball, he'd throw the ball. If he wanted to go out and work with me, he'd work with me. If he wanted me to teach, if I needed something to be taught to me, he'd teach me. I didn't care how much money he had. I, I had, I was getting food every day and a roof over my head and clean enough clothes, and I had parents that loved me. So I didn't care about money. And I think that's how all kids think is to have the mom and dad there caring for them. I think would be my advice is to stop being so stupid and worrying about how much money you can make
Yeah.
versus what kind of an impact can you have on your child.
Mhm. That's good advice. What do you want to be remembered for when all is said and done and you leave this earth? What do you want? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Oh, I just want to be remembered as a good husband, good father, loved his grandkids. Um, People always know they can go to my door if they need help. You know, I'm willing to pitch in where it's needed, and just that they know I, you know, truly do care about my neighbors, making sure people are, my family and neighbors, everybody's taken care of, and that they remember me for being kind. And my dad jokes. I want to be remembered for being maybe not funny, but
And don't forget the shirts. Got to be remembered for the shirts too.
and the shirt. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is my live shirt.
Yeah,
I'm going to be buried in this.
love it.
Nobody's getting.
You're not leaving it for no one, huh?
No, no, no.
Well, that's it for my questions. Thank you for sharing your story with me. Would you like to
Yeah,
tell
no
us
problem.
about your channel before we open it up to anybody else's questions?
Sure. It's just it's been a work in progress. I've had a vision for it for a while, and my wife finally said just do it. And it was to start a garden. And I started with a 10 by 10, and then I started filming things and doing things inside with the potato bags and messing around like that and doing dad jokes. But my whole goal was eventually to honor my dad, was to have the garden size that I wanted. And then I wanted to get into raised beds because as I get older, I want to do raised beds just so I'm not on the ground so much. And then I wanted to do the subscriber garden and things like that. And so it's really just based on improving the garden all the time, not so much making it any bigger, but now it's going to be the improvements. And now I'm going to really work on yield, on how much I get out of my garden. And then just as a side, my wood shop, it functions as a tool for the garden. So when I need a trellis or I need something made for it, I can make it. And I got pallets, and I try to do things like a farmer would. I use that mentality on my channel. That is, if you can do it cheaply and free, that's the best way. I don't care what it looks like. If it's going to help it be a better garden, I can make it. I got wood planers and saws and everything else. I can take a piece of garbage wood and make it look really nice. So that's what my channel's about: is the gardening, the homesteading. I like the farm to table cooking, and I like doing the lives because I really do enjoy like your channel, Misty, um, Hearth and Home. I'm going to miss a whole bunch, but and I just enjoy the camaraderie and what I've
Yeah.
learned from people online, because people have given a lot of great ideas as far as gardening and stuff. But yeah, my
Mhm.
channel's about indoor outdoor gardening. I'm getting into hydroponics, seed swapping, doing farmers markets, and just growing my channel with the garden. As my garden grows, I want my channel to grow.
You grew fast too, because you've way passed me up, which I don't have many, but I mean, we were about the same when we started interacting, and you've really grown quickly.
Yeah. I don't know how much people, I'll tell you, I don't know how much time you put into it. I put a lot of hours in during the day. I get up early and I start looking up channels that interest me, like farm to table cooking, backyard gardening, back to Eden gardening. That's a new thing. Is not new, but it's a big thing. Back to garden eating, where you're doing stuff like how nature does it, things like that. And then I seek those channels out, and then I watch their videos, see what they interest. If they interest me, then I friend them, just say, hey, here's what I do. So I try to do 5 to 10 of those every morning from 5:30 to about 7, and then my wife goes to work,
Uh-huh.
and I have a whole list of all the new ones I have, and then um, so I'm real progressive about really pushing.
That's good.
So and then I watch a lot of play. I mean, I watch during the day when my wife goes to work, and if I don't have to work with my grandson or have nothing else going on, or if I'm working around, which I work around the house daily.
Mhm.
I have the 3 TVs, my phone, and an iPad that I run 5 different playlists. And then
That's
around noontime, I swap. I take 5 more different people, throw their
yeah.
playlists on. So, and they know that. And like Missy cooking on a budget, she watches all my stuff. And I know others do. You do. Misty does. Down home with Misty. I know she watches our stuff. I watch her stuff. I don't know. And the thing is, I don't always get to watch every video all the time because we have some stuff coming up with my grandson that's going to require more of my time.
Mhm.
So if I miss your video, even if I miss your video and you don't see a comment from me right away, I'm going to pick it up in your playlist because if I'm going to town some days before I even leave, I'll get all TVs running in the house with playlists. So yours is going to get watched. It's just it may not be that day, but it will get watched. But and then so I'm just really I push it a lot. So um,
Thank you for
I'm at 8. Oh yeah, no, I enjoy it because I want everybody, the community like us, you, me, Misty, Jen from Alaska, just a whole bunch of us. I'm going to miss a whole bunch. Missy cooking on a budget, Grandma Teresa. Everybody helps each other, and it's a great community to be a part of.
Down Home Misty Style says, do you think you'll ever start your own produce shop or stand, aka market?
Say that again. It went out.
Do you think you'll ever start your own produce shop or market or stand?
Yes. Next year, my son and I were. I was joking with him the other day. Um, my grandmother and grandfather actually had a produce stand, and I've always wanted to make one like that. So next year, I'm going to build one probably out of pallet wood, and then I'll just have maybe I'll announce on Saturdays I'll have produce and what I'll have, and then people can come and just pick it up. I'll do it a couple days a week, and then I talked to the region I'm in. They have this huge golf course, and they have a huge. They do a bunch of events. They do trunk or treat and Christmas and Halloween stuff at the big. They have big events. So I asked the manager the other day, and he said definitely they'd love to, and they're going to allow us to do a farmers market. So 4 or 5 of us in this little area that do this farming and growing, we're going to be
That'll
able
be
to
fun.
do 1 to 2 next year. That's going to be really cool. I'm excited about that. And we're just going to start. I told them we'll just start with 1 or 2 next year to see if we can get it going. And if there's an interest, we'll do more the following year, but not to get overwhelmed. But he was all for it. He goes, yeah, anything we can do in the community. So I've got to get him dates and then I'll set those up. But yep, next year I'd really like to have some kind of a farm stand, just a low key small farm stand. And then I'm really want to explode the pumpkins next year. And then like I had the little girl, her and her mom and dad showed up the other day. They got a couple pumpkins from me. And then they're about a quarter mile away. And they walked, she's 1 year old. So she actually walked in the garden with me and I cut the pumpkins for her. And so she got the last 3 that were ready. But next year I want to have a couple hundred pumpkins and then do a pumpkin patch where people come pick their own pumpkin and just give me a buck. It's for
Yeah.
seed money, for gas for the tiller, or fencing if I need it. I'm not trying to make a lot of money on it. It helps the community. That way they don't have to drive 20 miles to get fruits or vegetables. They can just get it here cheap.
Yeah. What time do you start your day and what time do you go to bed?
You broke up. I heard what time I start my day.
Down Home Misty Style says, what time do you start your day and what time do you go to bed?
I usually start my day. I'm up at about 5 or 5:30. I don't sleep good. Um, I roll out 5 or 5:30, make some coffee, go to the table. I do any kind of YouTube stuff. If I have to edit something or make some notes or something, or write down things I want to do for YouTube over the coming week, kind of get my brain going for the day. Then my wife goes to work. Then I really start to hit it. That's when I'll go out in the garden, work a few hours, depending on the temperature. If it's nice out, I'll go for quite a few hours. If it's hot, I'm in and out. I'll go outside and work. Then I'll come inside, throw laundry in, drink something, go back outside and work, come back in, put down some baseboard I'm working on, back and forth. And then I'll go to bed, I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock. When I'm tired, I haven't had a set bedtime since I was 12. My mom and dad told me to go to bed. I
I
just
try
don't
to
know,
have a
tired.
set.
Sometimes I'm up late. Sometimes I go to bed early because I'm tired. I don't know. I don't have a real set time, but usually 5:30 I'm up.
Let me turn this alarm off. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
That is actually, my alarm was going off. That is actually
Oh,
the alarm that it's about time for Adeline to get home off the bus. So, is there anything else you would like to say before we end the interview?
no, I appreciate you having me on. I really love your channel. I've learned a lot from you and Aaron. I love your garden, and your other stuff too, but your garden. And I hope you guys go back to doing, when I first started watching you, you guys were doing bonfires. And I hope eventually you guys go back to bonfires because I love live
Yeah.
streams when you're doing bonfires. That's what
We
drew me to your channel
actually,
originally, the bonfires, if you remember,
yeah.
um,
Oh, yeah.
when you guys were
Yeah. That was
outside.
the first time we
Hmm.
communicated. Mhm.
Yeah, and then
And
but your
actually,
garden, yeah, I love your garden. I mean,
sorry.
everybody has, all the ones I follow. I mean, Misty. I mean, we all have these really. Everybody's just different. Some use containers, some use raised beds, some do crawling around like I do. But
You were talking
I
about
just
the
love gardening.
bonfire. My son brought me a load of firewood yesterday, so we're hoping maybe Saturday night to do a
Okay,
bonfire
that's cool.
live.
But yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I really do. I appreciate everybody that's been on your. I've tried to watch all of your interviews, and thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for all of our subscribers. And let's just continue to grow.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I appreciate it. And if there's anyone else who would like to do one of these, send me an email. You can find it on my information page. And Okies, I forgot to put your link on here, but once it processes, you know how it takes forever to process.
Yeah.
I will
Yes.
put your link on here so if anyone wants to subscribe. Anyone on here
Yeah.
that has it that can throw it on there, but I hate to cut it short. Well, it's not short. We've been on here for a little bit, but I'm gonna have to go because
Yeah.
Miss Adam will be home soon, and I can't do nothing but pay
No.
attention to
No.
her when she gets home.
That's right. No problem. I understand. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much. And if you're not subscribed to
Goodbye,
Okies,
everybody.
please go subscribe because his channel is very informative. I love all the science, the experimenting, and I love that about your channel, the way you like to try things and learn things. And your pumpkin patch is one to be wanted. I don't know the right word for that,
Yeah.
but everybody wants your pumpkins.
Next year going to be even better.
Oh, great. All
So
right. Well, thank you so much. And I guess
thank you.
we'll end it here. Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Take care. Goodbye.